Hey ladies and gentlemen, so the purpose of this lesson, I'm going to show you how to make a blueprint. Just some of the basic things to get you started with making a blueprint. Let's place in the views, let's get them in the right spot, let's make sure we have hidden line and shaded on, those types of things. So, first thing I need to do is I need to start a blueprint file. So I go to New, I click Pro, New, start a drawing, and then I'm going to go to Base. So if you notice, here's like a square and it shows these kind of arrows around it, kind of like dimensions. So I'm going to click into Base. Here's my base view. I have mine set up. That's nice. That's the front. So now if you're setting in your views here, and like if this view is all crooked, then like if it's crooked or rotated or whatever like that, then what I do need you to do, there's some lessons that explain how to fix that. So if you're not quite sure how to fix that, do those lessons that will tell you how to fix that. So before you go placing in and following along with this lesson, actually pause this or exit this and go watch the lesson on how to fix crooked views. So here's my front. The front view we always want to put in this bottom left hand corner. That's the proper spot for it. Now we're going to have to play with our scale a little bit. We don't want the scale to be too large, but we don't want it to be too small as well. We want it large enough to where all our views will fit on the paper, and we want it big enough that we can also, but still enough space that we can put our dimensions in and other information, those types of things. The object should not, no dimensions, the object, nothing should go outside of these outside lines here. So I'm going to try 3:1. That, I'm going to take a guess, probably going to be too big once I get to my top view, so I'm going to try 2:1. This is probably going to be okay. So I'm going to drag it over a bit. I don't want it too close because then I won't be able to get my dimensions in there. But this should be pretty good here. And before I place it in, I'm going to click this hidden line feature on. What that means is that's going to give us like X-ray vision so we can see through the object or the vehicle, or whatever your part is. Now, if you notice, when I bring the mouse up, there's a green line around it, a green dashed line around it. So I'm going to click here. Now that placed in my other view for me. And then I'm going to move my mouse to the right, and then I'm going to get, so that's the top view by the way. I'm moving my mouse to the right of the front view. And now I'm going to get the side view. That's great. Now I'm going to move my mouse up and add a diagonal. And now this is going to give me the isometric view. The isometric is kind of like a diagonal type of view. So I click that. Those are the four views that I need. Front in the lower left-hand corner. Top is directly above it and lined up. And then this will be the left side, or a side view, is directly to the right of the front view, and again that's all lined up in those types of things. So what you might run into is maybe these views are a little goofy, that kind of stuff. So again, you're gonna have to go to that lesson about how to switch up your views and fix in terms of if they're crooked or not the right thing and so on. So at this point, now I right click and I click enter. If I were to click anything else, or if I were to press escape, I'd actually lose those views. So I have to make sure I click OK. So again, I right click to bring this up. I left click OK. And then now it's thinking and it places those views in. So now if you notice here, these dashed lines, that's what I was talking about, is that those are hidden lines. So watch, I'll show you how I can turn them off. So I double click this red line. Okay, so this was not the master view. This was not the first view placed in, so I actually can't adjust that yet. So I'm going to go down here, and I have to go to the first view I placed in, and then that's how I can turn a hidden line off and on. So I'm going to click that, I'm going to turn it off, and you'll see, notice how that disappeared. But, like I said, we want it on. So I'm going to double click that again, I'm going to turn it on. So on these three views, these orthographic views, like this is dead on to the front, dead on to the top, dead on to the side. Those should have hidden line. This view should not have hidden line. Depending on what you're making, maybe sometimes it's okay. I'll kind of, it depends on what you're making, and it kind of is up to you at some point. But I want this view should be shaded, so I double click that, and then I click shaded, and then I click OK, and then now that view is shaded. So that's how it will print out, like that. So those are my three views. Let's say I place these in and it's like, oh man, the scale, it's a little too small or it's a little too big, so I can double click again to that main view and I can change that. Let's say I want 2.3, make them a little bit bigger. Okay, bam. Oh, I didn't want that, that's too big. Let me double click it again and change it. Let's go back to 2. Okay, well that's just wonderful. And now what you can actually do is you can kind of move these around too. Let's say you want to move them around, you can click the main one, drag it, those types of things. That's the basics on just getting your stuff on here, the proper arrangement, which it needs to be this setup. It's like, think about the idea. If you're reading a book in the United States of America, we read from the left to the right. It's just the way it is. So when we read a blueprint in the United States, we read it with kind of like, we start with the front view, the bottom left, and then we look up to the top view, and then we look to the right, to the side view. So that's just the way it is. So you need to follow that standard. Try this out, and I wish you success.